Everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner, and I have a very special guest in the corner. Would you like to let them in on your secret identity?
My secret identity is America Young. Hi, guys. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm happy that you're a person because when my I know that sounds weird when I say that, but when Chris told me, "Oh, you're interviewing America," I was like, "The, the
Sounds
president?
daunting.
The character from an anime? Like, what are we talking about here?"
Sounds like a lot of people.
It could be all encompassing. It could be all of America. I'm like, that's a lot of interviews. That's not
Yeah,
fair.
that's a lot of pressure to get done in 30 minutes.
I know, right? So to be honest, I've never heard a name like that before. Like that's
Oh,
really unique.
thank you so much. I'm the third. It's my mom and my grandmother's name also.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
I'm America the third. But I love it. I'm so proud of it, and it's just neat that it's been passed through the family.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, we have a tradition in our family where all the kids start with a J name.
Oh,
So it's,
really?
yeah, like Jan, Jackie, Jenna, Jasmine, Jaylee, so on and so forth.
That's cool. You have to get really creative with your names then.
I know, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my kid, but that's like 10 years in the future, so.
Yeah, you can just make up a new name. It'll be cool.
But going back to when you were a kid, what got you interested in acting?
It's something that I've always wanted to do, but I've also, my parents, you always want to do the responsible thing, and getting into acting is not necessarily the responsible thing. But it's something I'd always done. I'd always done plays as a kid and commercials even as a little kid. I had an agent approach me once when I was a child and asked me if I wanted to be represented. So I did commercials, but I never really pursued it until I hit my 20s because it wasn't responsible. It wasn't what you did. You got a real job and had family and kids and stuff. And when I hit my 20s, I was going to go to med school, and my dad said, "Well, if this isn't what you really want to do, then you should probably figure out what it is you really want to do because you don't want to be a doctor. If you don't want to be a doctor, you shouldn't be a doctor." And so I decided to come out to Los Angeles and start pursuing acting just for a little bit. And I never left. I love it. So I've been doing this for a while now.
Well, I can kind of sympathize with that because my mom, she let me take like a year off of working and things like that to get all this radio stuff situated. And,
Uh-huh.
for the longest time, it's like, you need to go to college and you need to do this and that. And it's like, now I'm getting paid to sit in my room. What you gonna
Right?
do about it?
It's perfect. It's perfect. Like you get some time to get it out of your system, but if it's in your system, you're not going to get it out of your system, you know?
Exactly. Because if you
So
love it so much.
yeah, exactly. If you love it so much, it's not going to go away. And if you were curious, it might go away. But if you love it with all your heart and it's what you're meant to do, it's not going to go away when you try it for a little bit. So congratulations to you getting paid to sit in your room. That's awesome.
Woohoo! Well, congratulations for you. You get to be paid to get set on fire and
Yeah,
various other
that's
things
right.
like that.
Thanks.
Well, no, it was funny because I've talked to a few people who've done stunts, and I've never seen anybody who's actually gotten lit on fire, and that's the first clip you have in your demo for stunts, and I was like, oh, that must have been hot.
Actually, it was freezing.
Really?
Yeah, because they put you in this gel from head to toe that's just freezing, freezing gel. So actually, by the time you're ready to get set on fire, you're ready for it. You're like, please set me on fire. I'm so cold right now. So that's the good thing, because otherwise it would be so uncomfortable.
I can understand that, but I mean, I'm a wuss. I can't even pick up like a hot plate. Like I couldn't even be a waitress, so I can't imagine being lit on fire.
Well, the cool thing about being lit on fire is that the only skill you really need is the ability to not freak out because you don't feel it. You're pretty well protected from it, but the person setting you on fire needs to know what they're doing. They need to be really skilled, otherwise you can get hurt. But there's no real skill involved with being set on fire, except for the skill not to freak out. That's the big one.
Note to self, don't let the other staff members trick me into lighting myself on fire.
Yes,
Okay.
please, please don't. Do not
I,
try this at home.
but I have to wonder with stunts, is there anything that you've been approached with and you're like, I don't know if I can do that?
Yes, absolutely. I've done a small car hit, but I don't think I would ever do like a major car hit. Because that takes a special kind of skill that I don't have. But there's people who are amazing at doing car hits. Like they are incredible at it. My friend Brian Height, like that's his specialty, and he loves it. He loves doing car hits, but that's not something I don't think I would ever do. I know I would never do it.
Well, so I would assume that you're rolling onto the hood of the car. Is that what a car hit would be, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, because they really are hitting you, and they're usually hitting you at a pretty good speed. And there's a skill to it in terms of like you kind of hop up onto the hood as it's hitting you, and but the thing is that you would need to make it look like you're not hopping up onto the hood. Otherwise, you have to do it all over again, and you just need to make sure to know your spatial arrangement so that you don't get caught under the wheels or there's a whole thing to it, um, which I'm pretty sure I will never do.
Well, I can understand not wanting to be in the path of a car.
Thank you.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, there's definitely in all the stunts that I've done, whether it's high falls or the fire burn, there's definitely that voice in your head as you're standing at the top of a skyscraper about to jump that's going, "What are you doing? I've tried to keep you safe your entire life. Why are you standing on the edge of a skyscraper about to jump off?" And that's a little voice that you have to calmly talk down to and say, "Look, we've trained for this. We know what you're doing. This is safe." But yeah, there's definitely a part of you, your survival instinct has a problem with this career. That's for sure.
Well, one thing in Hollywood that isn't just popular besides stunts, there's also motion capture. Like
Yes.
video games seems to be the big thing in Hollywood nowadays.
Yeah, it's and video games, but motion capture for movies too. They're doing that for more and more. And Tintin, I think, was all motion capture, and there's a lot of movies that they're doing that for. And I've done a lot of motion capture, and I love it. It's the most fun thing because you're usually playing more than one character, and so you get to play either a little boy or a girl on the street or an old woman or different your favorite characters from X-Men or Spider-Man, and that's just that has been the coolest part so far of my job is between that and the voiceover. Those are my two favorite things to do.
Well, now for the listeners out there, can you explain the procedure getting you all set up with your funny little suits with all the balls everywhere?
Absolutely, that's exactly what it is. You're put in like the spandex suit from head to toe, and at every joint they put a sensor. It's basically a ball that's covered in crushed glass, so it's really shiny. It's like reflective tape on your bicycle gear, and then you go out into the volume, and the volume is just this big space that's you're surrounded by usually about 120 cameras that track the data that come in from your sensors, from the reflective light from on the cameras, and then that's how they get a three-dimensional picture of your movement. And then from that, they'll put on the skin of the character. So in this one game, Conan, I played all the women of the entire game, but they just put different skins on me, and I did different actions for different scenes. And then so that way you could look like, you could look like anything. You could look like a little boy. You could look like I did the commercial actually for the Harry Potter video game, and in some of the scenes I'm Harry Potter, which is awesome, and some of them I'm Hermione, and some of them I'm Professor McGonagall, and so it just depends. You have to change your movement so it fits the character, and then they'll put the skin over the skeleton of your joints, and then that's how they get the motions to look hopefully real.
Well, I have to wonder, is there ever any time, whether it's like the beginning, take of the day, or when you first started motion capture, where you're like, this is kind of silly?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Every moment because you're playing because there's no sets, there's no costumes, there's no there's no lighting, there's nothing. So it's all in your mind. And so sometimes some of the things you're doing without the context of a set or other actors or something, it just feels ridiculous. But it's the most fun job because it's all in your mind, and it's ultimately like the power of imagination, and you're living in your imagination, and it's work, which is the best combination of life. But yeah, you're absolutely doing gestures. I did something for Pirates of the Caribbean video game where we had to be crab people. I mean, there's just so many ridiculous things that you end up doing because if you ever watch a video game and you ever see a character in the game, that's been motion captured. So even something like Left 4 Dead or all those zombies were captured by one, like his name is Richard Dorton, actually his name is Mocap Man because he's done a million games, but he did all the characters characters in Left 4 Dead. So any of those zombies that you see walking around, limping around, doing things, he captured all of that. So yes, absolutely. You're doing stuff where you're crouched in a weird position or you're walking like a crab man and you're like, what am I doing? But that's also what's so wonderful about it is because you're doing stuff that you would never do in another job, almost guaranteed.
Well, I figure you kind of have to go back in time, at least mentally, and be
Um,
like the little kid who's fascinated by the box. Like, this is a race car, and now it's a treasure
exactly.
box.
Jackie, that's exactly right. That's it. Because it's all you have is you have like a blank box, and they'll hand you this box and like, this is your briefcase, or this is your gun, or this is your baby, or this is your dog. And every single time you have to treat it differently. So it's exactly like being between 5 and 6 again. Not even as old as like 11 and 12. It's between 5 and 6, which is great, because those are the days when you were, princesses and mermaids and warriors and He-Man and like I just those are the best days, and that's what I get paid to do every day.
Well, now I have to wonder, do you ever get to motion capture with somebody else, or is it always just you in the room alone?
It depends. Sometimes you're by yourself, and sometimes you're with a group of people. For the Pirates game, I had a cast with me of I think there were 5 of us total, and we just laughed nonstop. It was one of the most fun captures we've had. Also, I just worked on Saints Row 3, and that was a similar experience. It was a cast of 5 or 6, and we just laughed nonstop and had the most fun. And then so that's when you're doing like cut scenes. Those are the scenes that kind of play out in between the action. But when you're doing in-game motions, which is like everything your character does as you're playing the game, I did the in-game stuff for Uncharted 2 and 3 for the character of Chloe, and that you're by yourself. And that's not nearly as fun. It's still fun because of what you get to do, but it's so much fun when you're getting to interact with the other mocap actors and the director and the animators and playing around. The in-game stuff is more like it's more mathematical. It's more jump up, jump down, jump to your left, jump to your right. Run in a crouch to this position, run into a crouch to this position, and different things. All the things that you would do in the game, somebody has to capture all of that. So that gets pretty tedious because that's just like a checklist of stuff that you have to go through. So you're not with other people then, but on all the cutscenes and all of that stuff, if you see people interacting with each other on the scene, then usually they're interacting with somebody else. Although sometimes you're playing more than one character in that scene, and that gets a little confusing. But yeah, that's the. Sorry, that was my dog. He quacked.
Sneezed. Are you
He,
quacked?
he quacks. um, so then you're interacting with other people, and that's so much fun.
Well, that sounds interesting. And for the listeners out there, I'm going to actually give you about 4 minutes for you guys to get your own boxes and a few friends so you can motion capture at home. You got a break. You got a break to do it. We'll come back with our special guest, so stay tuned to 91.8 The Fan, everything you want and nothing you don't.
Rizimble Rangers present Real Fans of Genius.
Real fans of genius.
Today, we salute you, Miss Yaoi-obsessed fangirl.
Miss Yowie-obsessed fangirl.
You see one guy, you think it's cute, but 2 guys, all over each other with wind blowing through their hair. Now that's sexy.
Where is that wind coming from?
Dojinshi, fanfics, you've got it all. But it's never enough, and no clothing ensemble is complete without a giant wooden paddle.
Someone's been a naughty bishy.
No manga writer would have ever imagined the kind of kinky activities you've come up with for the characters they created.
Yeah!
So take a bow, and the Ritalin, oh crazed babe of the Bishis, we take our hats off to you. But only our hats.
Miss Yowie-obsessed fangirl.
This tribute brought to you by the Rizimble Rangers. Embrace your inner otaku.
Hey, everybody out there. Did you get your boxes? I hope so. And as you can tell, my special guest is still here and alive. We didn't hurt her. Why are you looking at me like that?
They made me giggle a lot, though. Shame on you.
Yes, we torture with giggles.
Awful.
We just need to get like the bird feathers and start waving them across your feet and under your arms. And then you'll be ours. No.
No.
But since we didn't really get a chance to talk about it a little bit earlier, I was curious if there's any projects that you're working on that you want to pimp out or anything that recently came out that you want the listeners to know about.
Yeah, absolutely. let's see. Let's see where to start. I just signed on to do a project which I'm really excited about called Damsels and Dragons. It's a web series about an all-girl LARPing group. And I'm co-producing it with a Jessica Mills, who also did this web series Awkward Embraces. We have a table read. Sorry, we have a table read. Oh my gosh, I'm in the process of losing my voice. That just happened.
The giggles. That's what did it.
The giggles killed it. We have a table read for season 2 this Saturday, and then we'll be able to announce more information about when we're going to start filming it and everything. But we have parts in there for fans because we had a first season, and so this is moving into our second season. Parts in there for fans and people who want to get involved in it, and really excited about that. So there'll be more information, and there's a Twitter for it, which is LARP the series. So at LARP the series. And then I'm also involved in Monster High, which is one of my favorite projects that I've been working on. And there's always a new episode coming out on their website every single Thursday, I think. And I play Toralei and Howleen on that show. And then let me see what else. Also, I do this show called Geek Therapy on Comediva. And it's where people come to find their inner geeks and help them with their geek-related things. And we just released 9 episodes, and we're going to be releasing a bunch more episodes coming up. And we have kind of an exciting announcement to make about those coming up soon. But that's on Comediva, which is COMEDIVA. That's my dog honking again. Comediva.com. And my Twitter, if for all updates, because I tweet like mad, is at America_Young, YOUNG. And then my website is just americayoung.com, and I update that pretty regularly as well.
Well, I will say I keep hearing about Monster High. I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes here or there.
Uh-huh.
Just accidentally, but no offense, but you're like looking on the internet and you're like, what is this? This looks cool. I'll watch this. So
you have a lot to keep up with, I'm sure.
Yeah, at this point with the video games and the anime and the but anyway, I went to the Consumer Electronics Show here in Vegas in January, and the toy company that is in charge of that had a booth. So they had a lot of interesting posters and like figures from the show and things like that.
Oh, good. Yeah, Mattel.
Yeah,
They're the ones who do it. And they what I love about the doll, the concept is it's the teenage daughters of all the famous monsters. So it's like Dracula's teenage daughter, Draculaura, and Frankenstein's teenage daughter, Frankie Stein. And what I love is the whole genre of movies that hasn't really been accessible to teenage girls in the past. And now it's cool. And the whole slogan is Freaky just got fabulous, which is just so neat because it's like, whatever your flaw is, it's fine because it's actually what makes you unique and special. So I really enjoy being part of the show and having dolls come out and stuff. So I like it.
Well, I have to admit, I don't know many girls who know who Bela Lugosi is and all those. So.
And they should.
I know.
Yeah, they should know who that is, and they don't. And they don't have to, obviously, because they have, they like what they like. But there's just such classic, amazing movies out there that they just haven't been exposed to.
No, I totally understand. I mean, it's kind of like trying to expose my mom to a computer. It's foreign to her. She doesn't understand it.
I know. It's been 30 minutes trying to teach my mom copy paste. She just, it's a different world.
Well, me and my mom have had cell phones since I was 12, and I'm about to turn 21, and she still cannot check her voicemail without being like, Jackie, how do I check my voicemail? Is it star 86? What do I do?
Oh, Mom.
Yeah, she just can't. It's so sad. Either way, but for the listeners out there, is there any place where they can see you in real life? Do you have any events coming up? Any conventions you might be going to?
I will be going to WonderCon, but I'm going to that just as a fan. So I will be walking around, and if you tweet at me, maybe we can figure out a way to meet up if they're interested. And then I will be going to Comic-Con too, and I think Monster High will probably have a booth and a signing. And then and I'll definitely be there for Damsels and Dragons as well. And then we'll probably be doing some sort of an event to fundraise, but also to publicize Damsels and Dragons. So the best way to know of any appearances or anything would be just on Twitter.
Well, it seems like you're not a stranger to the convention scene.
No, I love the convention scene.
I always describe it to people like the adrenaline rush you get for going to Disneyland.
Yep. Yeah, it's just stimulus overload. Like it's something I love so much but exhausts me so fully. But I just love it because it's like everything that you love in one roof, surrounded by a bunch of people who love it too. You know, it's so much fun.
Well, I completely understand. I mean, I try to explain to people, they're like, "Oh, I had so much fun. I'm still pumped." And I'm like, "How are you still pumped? I'm already, like, I have to be out for a day. I was in heels all weekend."
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
especially if you're in cosplay. Some of those costumes are kind of exhausting to walk around in.
I always need a backup person if I'm cosplaying, like to lug my stuff around
Yeah, absolutely.
or to,
Absolutely.
or to make sure like nothing falls out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The wardrobe malfunctions are always a risk.
Well, because like I have some wigs that I have no peripheral vision. Like I can see straight just fine, but
Are
like
you
they're like
serious?
big pink tails or whatever, and I just have no peripheral vision.
Yeah, you're absolutely limited with some of your costume, and usually the better it is, the more limited you are. Usually.
And I've seen some girls, they're all in the corsets and like I'm wondering how they can step outside in like leotards and things, and I'm just like, wow, that takes some dedication.
Yeah, and true confidence in yourself, which you have to admire.
That's very true. So we'll make sure to stay on the lookout on your website and your Twitter. And
Please.
did you mention your Facebook?
I didn't because I'm not really on it that much. I should be on it more, I'm sure, but I'm already so addicted to so many different websites. I am on Formspring pretty regularly, which is just America Young, and it's the certified account. But yeah, Twitter, my website, and Formspring are probably the best way to communicate with me.
Good to know. And for since we're nearing the end of this interview, assuming I can get my cat to go away. You've had dog troubles. My cat's like, "Hey, I just want to come up and lick your thigh," and I'm like, "Thanks, cat." But since we're nearing the end of this interview, I was wondering if you'd like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Absolutely. What is it?
Awesome. We ask if you'd be willing to do a radio bump for us.
Absolutely.
The only trick of it is that you do the takes live on air. So if you mess up, everybody hears it.
If I mess up, if my dog honks, everybody hears it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
or if your dog honks.
Let's do it.
We basically ask if you'd be willing to say, "Hello, my name is, I do this." You can insert characters, things you're working on, or just a general, "I'm an actor," whatever you want there.
Mhm.
And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is America Young. I'm a professional storyteller in Los Angeles, California, and you are tuned in to 91.8 The Fan.
See, you got that so perfectly, and I have voice actors who are like, "What? 98, the boy? What?"
The boy? Oh, that's a whole nother site, isn't it?
I don't know. I just know that somebody has said it before.
Yay!
Yay! But is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
Just that I had a blast being interviewed by you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel special.
Okay.
So for any of the listeners out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. It'll be up on the website within the next few days. So keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.